Welcome to Masters of Product Management, a show that gives you real-world techniques and cutting-edge strategies to learn, apply, and succeed in product management. Now, here's the master himself, Stephen Haines.
Welcome back, everyone. At my company, Sequent Learning Networks, we work with large, complex companies to help them organize more effectively so they can produce great products and brands and to be more nimble competitors. Now, for decades, the leaders and the executives that I've worked with, plus those that have been researched and interviewed, they've all called for greater levels of innovation through rapid product development. And the way it's portrayed by leaders, it's not always about creativity per se, but more about speed. And this concept called cycle time reduction, as it once was called, it was like the watchword for every senior leader. But today I want to talk a little bit about iterative product planning and development. What I don't want to do is have a rant about the good and the bad or the ugly about Agile. But what I want to do is share some of my thoughts about what I've seen and what you might be able to consider as your company continues its march through this digital age that's upon us. Now, I'm going to overstate the obvious. Certainly, the proliferation of intangible digital products and services has enabled companies to really use rapid development to speed time to market. Small, nimble startups, they're really great at this iterative, agile, nimble development. But in the years that I've observed this proliferation, and from my research, it's sort of met with mixed results, especially in larger, more complex companies. And as I see it, I don't think I'm the only one. I know Agile works well in these small firms. It's great for websites, it's great for apps and other digital products that are basically updated or changed and are open, I'm going to say presumably open, to customer feedback and rapid validation and hopefully learning. And unfortunately, from recent observations with larger companies, the call by leaders to convert development to Agile methods may not be achieving the levels of success that they envision. Now, I think that there are lots of opportunities and challenges here, but it's not, and also it's not about saying that waterfall development is dead or, long live Agile. And also, there isn't a one-size-fits-all approach to Agile or iterative adoption. So think about this. Like an IT-centric environment, like a bank or a brokerage or an insurance company. Agile deployment in select projects is appropriate, but what I see is that there are lots and lots of department involved, and these departments, there are, and this is recent. I was just observing something in the bank just a couple of weeks ago, and I learned about these intersystem dependencies and databases and interfaces and complexities. And you think about this stuff, it's almost like speed of programming is the panacea, but speed of programming doesn't mean speed of success because of this systemic integration that's not necessarily taken as seriously as it should be. And so in this case, while iterative development could work to get stuff done, and maybe even get stuff done faster, I don't think that enough people are talking to each other and working together, meaning these interactions that take place between lots of departments and even lots of Agile projects that are going on. But one of the things that I've seen, and this I learned in my research over the last year or so, and that is, if you have a strong product manager leading these efforts, some of the development efforts that are spawned may actually produce more desirable outcomes. Now, in other situations with larger companies, where products and solutions are made up of both hardware and software, some physical or intangible components, the software is generally developed more rapidly than the hardware. And lots of development groups and different functions, they may not move in lockstep. That would result in faster time to market. I was talking to an executive maybe a year or so ago, and he was referring to heart pacemakers. And this pacemaker is a physical product, and there's a software component. And he said that even if the software was done faster than the hardware, you can't release a half-done pacemaker. The hardware and the software has to be integrated and tested before it's launched to market. So in both of these cases, whether you're dealing with a bank or a medical device company, you need user or customer involvement and feedback. And the problem is that that learning that's supposedly sought after isn't really factoring very much into that formula. It's just, to me, about breaking these projects into these smaller pieces. And then, of course, we avoid some documentation and maybe we skip some steps, all in the name of speed. So while some success, I think, is possible, I think, when you're operating in this environment, you might want to really take a look at some of the goals you're trying to achieve and whether the development method is fit for purpose and if you're getting the results that you want.
Masters of Product Management is brought to you by Sequent Learning. Sequent Learning provides real tools for success in product management, strategy, and marketing. Find out more at sequentlearning.com. That's sequentlearning.com.
So where does this go? How can larger, more complex companies deal with a transformation that could be seen as difficult, get better results? So here are a couple of ideas that you might be able to consider. And this is consistent with what I wrote in the Product Manager's Desk reference, and that is this. Focus on products and portfolios, not projects. All right. If we make products the centerpiece, we're looking to solve broad customer and market problems. And then what we create is goals and strategies around them. So if we can revisit the idea of creating solutions that are, or unique experiences for your customers, we can get ahead of the curve. And then maybe we can recalibrate our mindsets around this in a more focused way. But how do we manage it? And again, I think it's pretty simple. Think about the role and purpose of a cross-functional product team. Not a project team, a product team. This is this work structure. It's a body. It's delegated by leaders to agree on goals and strategies for a product line or a portfolio. So it's not like individual contributors are doing this. This is a higher level body. But what this does is it allows leaders to shift their focus from projects to products. And if you have a lot of agile projects going on without a lot of governance or oversight, then what do you get? You know this. You get conflict, you get confusion, roles, responsibilities, making decisions, and you get stuck in this tactical thing where you're working off of lists of features, but not necessarily working collectively to solve these broader problems. And again, these are in larger, more complex environments. So if you think about this and forming these semi-autonomous, empowered cross-functional product teams, focusing on products and solutions, that's a really cool first step. All right. So think that this cross-functional product team can now have its members collaborate to agree on how projects are created, shaped, how resources get allocated, and the other part is how we can move, especially again in these big complex environments with lots of systems and interfaces and databases and things like that. How do we minimize handoffs so we can streamline our operations? And therefore Agile then becomes more about being nimble as well as rapidly doing things to solve those customer problems. And then the other part is really start thinking about getting some of the feedback that's necessary and learning, not just about rapid coding and project execution. So as I wind up this talk, it's really, even though Agile and other rapid development techniques can get you to market faster, may not get you the quality and the outcomes you want. And so what we have to think about is making sure the gears of the organization continue to be synchronized and optimized, not fragmented. And that means focused resources that fulfill goals and strategies, back to those business basics, can more naturally find the fastest route to market. And I think that's one of the goals that we ought to be thinking about. And I'd like to hear some of your thoughts on the topic. And I'd love to hear from you. So send me an email at sjhaines@sequentlearning.com. And I can focus some of these comments on future episodes. And if you'd like to come on the show or you know somebody who might contribute greatly to the discussion, I'd be delighted to speak with you. So make sure to tune in for future episodes of Masters of Product Management. I'm Stephen Haines, and thank you for listening.
This has been Masters of Product Management with Stephen Haines, but it doesn't end there. Just visit sequentbusiness.net to gain access to all of our shows and subscribe. That way you'll never miss an episode. It's all there at sequentbusiness.net. We'll talk to you next time on Masters of Product Management. Learn, apply, and succeed. sequentlearning.com